Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 98 of Podcast of Five Rings, your source of enlightenment in the realm of video games, tabletop, anime, film, and tech. Each episode of Podcast of Five Rings releases Monday mornings on iTunes and Soundcloud, and Talk by Topic day by day on YouTube, with the full video releasing on Friday. Catch updates about the podcast or for other news, give us a follow on your social media platform of choice, listed in the description below. I'm your host, GM, and overseer of Podcast of Five Rings, Obsidian. New year, new me, 2020 vision. I hate that everyone's saying that, by the way, 2020 vision.
Wait, and you're only furthering...
That's like our work motto for this year. I was like, of course. I hate corporate speak. We got the wall that will not fall, Tetsuo.
Yeah, I'm here.
Are you? I don't see you, and I apparently have object permanence.
You gotta keep talking, Tetsuo. He's not gonna know you're there.
Schrodinger's Tets.
Don't tell him I'm here. I'm hiding.
Where did Tets go? Where is he? Oh, there he is. There he is.
There he is.
Peekaboo. Oh. I can't cackle like a baby, so.
Oh, my daughter just now discovered Peekaboo. And she pulls up her blanket to hide behind it, and it's like a holy blanket.
Dude, you can't see her when she pulls up the blanket. That's like cheating on her end, though. So.
Yep.
Call her out on it.
Call her out. You're the Dark Fortune duelist. Challenger to a duel of object permanence.
So I'm gonna explain the object permanence. You're talking about his cat, and his cat has a problem with like moving dish bowls and whatnot. So it doesn't disappear. And Mao, as the wise sage that he is, pointed out that they say animals take after their owners, so therefore Obs has object permanence as well.
Yep.
Or lack.
No object permanence.
No object permanence. Lack thereof of it.
Right.
Tetsuo's daughter is more mentally developed than I am. This is known.
You said it.
Your words.
All right, Mao. Introduce yourself then.
I am Mao. Yo.
It's 2020. New Mao.
New Mao, who dis?
So what's up? It's the new year, guys.
He's got like a cap on backwards. Skateboard.
Hello, kids.
There, fellow kids.
Hello, fellow humans.
Bushimi.jpg.
Oh, I'm exhausted. Is the year over yet?
No.
Yes.
Can I just sleep it off?
Dude, like, I really can't wait for 2021 already.
I know, right?
It's been really rough.
All these
the
great
world be over by
games
then.
passed me by.
Dude, like, I really need 2021 right now. This year's just not going as great as I want.
Is that the year Sword Art Online?
Can we get a mulligan?
Can I draw a new year?
Start the year over, actually. Yeah.
Oh, that would have been a great segue for you, man.
It would have been.
If it was only a
Stole
London
it now.
mulligan.
You stole it now.
I know, I brought attention to it. I ruined it completely.
Nah, the years though, I don't know, man. My year's been just pretty rough. Been pretty busy. So,
It's been a rough 9 days.
rough 9 days.
The roughest 9 days of all time.
The last 9 days have been a month, I'll tell you.
Man, these last 9 days have been a real kick in the ass for this year.
It does feel like it. I think it's just because I had so much off time off work, and then you go back, and it's a fucking nightmare.
Honestly, I'm gonna blame other people for it though. It was just a lot of rough
You're
stuff.
perfect. We know this.
Yeah, I'm perfect.
This is known.
This is known.
It is known.
I have spoken. So.
It is known,
yeah.
Khaleesi.
He's no Khaleesi.
Tets, what about you? We're all miserable. Someone has to be happy.
I was gonna say actually, I mean, it hasn't been great, but it hasn't been bad either so far. It's
Look, you can't lie to me. I know this is really bad voice. It's right here, now, in the moment, raw, live.
I mean, like, it's. I will say my little one has suddenly started being mobile in the last couple weeks, so there's positivity and negativity there because now suddenly we have to protect everything.
Baby gates.
Baby
Also,
gates.
she's figured out like we've had to do makeshift gates, and she's figured out how to move past half of them, and then even like the main gate, like she now knows how to at least stand up and is trying to figure out how to climb over it. And it's just like, oh my god.
She's learning, adapting, evolving.
Yep. Some crab genes.
So she's gonna want to.
She's just gonna crush it.
The first thing she's gonna immediately do is learn how to fortify her gates.
She's gonna like lock you out of her room.
Lock out of her room.
The Great Baby Wall.
Yep. It's just like piles of Gerber.
Like key components. She's gonna be like hoarding supplies, rationing herself. She's gonna return to you one day with like rattles, like 20 rattles, to show that she's ready to become a samurai.
The heads of 20 spotters.
So for a moment, I'm picturing like normal spiders, not L5R spiders, which is where I'm hoping you went with that.
Either or. Which would make you more proud?
I think both would be creeping me out because on one hand she killed 20 spiders and then like cut their heads off and brought them to you, or she found 20 people who liked the spider clan, killed them, and then brought them to you.
Or alternatively,
Both are acceptable.
Exactly. My thoughts exactly, Mal.
But spiders don't exactly have heads, so that's even more terrifying. Like the 8 little they're just a thorax with eyes.
I think the real thing is if your daughter brings you 20 spiders of any type whatsoever, you've
Or
probably got a
parts.
bigger problem. Yeah, or probably got a bigger problem in hands.
Yeah, or actual spider samurai. Oh no, she's willing fictional things into existence.
No, she
And
made
it's
a
the
terrible.
bad stuff.
She made a terrible deal in storyline choice, like the crab joining sides with the Shadowlands.
We don't talk about such things, Meta.
What are they
Go
talking
back to
about?
being
I have
crappy
no
at
idea.
duel or at everything but dueling.
Elephant Warlord.
Elephant Warlord.
My favorite.
Did you know the Empire would have been great if elephants led it?
That would have been
I mean,
amazing.
you're not wrong.
Can't. Dude, like, what are you gonna do? It's like, what do you say to that? He's like, bring me to your leader. He just brings you to an elephant.
You misunderstood me. Leader.
No, that's the elephant. Yeah.
The Elephant Warlord had to commit seppuku with his trunk.
Oh, jeez.
Give him a no dachi.
Oh my gosh.
The best part is though, right? Like they handle all the problems because they never forget anything. Like there's nothing they can overlook because they don't forget.
True.
Don't forget. That's true.
They're good
There's
at
a bit
leading
of
from
a
the front.
communication issue, but
True, yeah.
It's the part is really trying to convey
one
what the
stomp for
elephant
yes,
wants.
2 stomps for no.
Needs a Kitsune Hatamoto.
He's like, do you want us to burn the village down? Stomps 1 for no. I think he said yes. No, that
Yes,
was a
yes.
no. You deal on no. Yes. Pauses in between stomps.
Yes. Well, speaking of mulliganing, to go back for 5 minutes of time. Mal, what's your topic tonight?
So there's this game called Magic the Gathering. It came out in 1995.
We're going to talk about the MMO.
No,
Magic the Gathering, the MMO.
I mean that we did get news of that yesterday.
Magic
Calling it an
the
MMO is a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
Magic has gone too far. They need to get back in their lane.
Well, I mean they didn't leave their lane either. They just got bigger.
No, I don't like
They
it.
just got wider and take up.
Oh,
lanes.
I'm sorry, Mal. I thought of a topic out of nowhere. But I'll bring it up to the end. It could be a little mini topic.
No, by all means, Oz. What is
No,
your
I'm not going to cut you off. I'm just telling everyone. Meta won't go last.
On this topic now.
No, we're not. Go.
Too late. It's too late. Don't worry, we can get this in post.
I promise it will be edited out.
Yep, I'm sure.
Oh my god.
Anyway, there's a new Magic the Gathering expansion coming out. It's a return to Theros, the Greek-inspired plane, Greek mythology and whatnot. Top-down design. It's pretty cool. I think the lore was, I don't know. It's originally when it came out, people weren't very high on it. I think people look back now with fonder memories, sort of a thing.
Yeah, it seems to be a very well-regarded set.
Yeah, like the power level was not great, but other than that, I think it's pretty well received. It is the set that made them realize they shouldn't do 3 sets to a block anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got that going for it, I guess. Anyway, yeah, they just finished off their really big storyline stuff. Now we're going just We went to Eldraine, and where we had a cooldown story, and now we're at Theros with no story. There's no book. There's no online stories. There's just little blurbs. There's not. I don't know. It's not great for the story side of things.
Yeah,
unfortunately, but the cards are cool.
They are very cool.
Yeah, so Theros is the enchantment set. Like you have the artifact sets of Mirrodin or Kaladesh type stuff. Theros, the original Theros, and now the Return both have a lot more enchantment focus, which is interesting because it's probably one of the least there are a bunch of enchantments in the game, but there's not a lot of just as much interesting things to do with it.
Yeah,
as artifacts or even like planeswalkers, which are the newest type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, enchantments are kind of risky to run because there's so much like targeted removal.
Yep.
So your enchantments usually just get blown up unless you have a way to get them out of the discard or the graveyard, as opposed to the artifact weapons and stuff where you attach them. You can at least like pay mana to reattach them to somebody else. They don't necessarily go away.
Oh yeah.
So.
Right, yeah, auras are pretty not great for that regard. But
exactly.
Yeah, so in the last time on Theros, we there was Elspeth who was basically trying, or the Zeus equivalent Helioid asked her to kill this one god. Guy the planeswalker who ascended to godhood. She did, and then Helioid was like, "That's cool and all, but you killed the gods, so you got to die."
Because Greek gods are dicks.
Yep. So he killed her.
Sounds like a very Greek god thing to do.
Yep. And so yeah, she's in the underworld though. Luckily, she died on a plane with an actual underworld. Underworld is a built-in thing where people come back all the time. So she's back. Has escaped from the underworld and brought back a new mechanic called Escape, where you can play the card for its escape cost and of mana, and then so many exiling a number of cards from your graveyard. So like her planeswalker has escape for white, and exile 4 other cards to play it. And if you do all those things, it comes back out of your graveyard, which historically has been good. Being able to play one card multiple times is pretty good card advantage.
Yep.
So we'll see how that goes. They were definitely afraid of it. They added on extra, like the exiling cards is like a safety valve.
Lots of way to get stuff out of people's graveyard
infinite with it. And then a ton of graveyard hate. They're really worried about something going wrong. Which, I mean, considering how standard has been for the last little bit.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Delve is a very similar mechanic, right?
Delve makes a card cheaper to play by exiling cards.
Okay. You can't necessarily buy back.
Correct. Delve is typically powerful because it's in older formats, it's easy to put a bunch of cards in your graveyard and then cast the thing for very cheap. These, you still have to pay whatever the escape mana is, which is typically, I mean, it depends. Either the mana is more expensive and you have to do less cards, or the mana is really cheap and you have to do a lot of cards. Like there's the red mythic, Ox of Agonis, enters the battlefield, or it's 3 red for a 4/2, enters the battlefield, you discard your hand, draw 3 cards, and then it has an escape of only 2 mana, but you have to exile 8 cards from your graveyard. Which, I mean, if you're discarding your hand when you play them, you're probably starting to fill up your graveyard fairly quickly. And when it escapes, it gets a +1/+1 counter on it, which is also been fairly common with a lot of these escape creatures. They get bigger when they come back from the graveyard.
Yeah.
And then there's also Devotion, which is a returning mechanic, and probably the most loved from Theros. Basically, so like they're all the gods, like Helioid, which they all have devotion, and so as long as your devotion to white is less than 5, Helioid is not a creature. So you count up the number of white mana pips on all of your cards on the battlefield, your creatures, your enchantments, and whatnot, any artifacts if they are colored. And if it is 5 or more, he gets to be a creature. If it's less than, he's just an artifact who sits there and can't do anything like attacking or blocking.
Yep.
And then there are other cards that that just get a bigger bonus when they based on their devotion, like damage equal to your devotion to red is a sort of effect.
Yeah, some like toughness or power things. Yeah.
It works well in the enchantment set because enchantments typically just sit there on the board. So having more enchantments on the field increases your devotion. And then they also brought back Constellation, which is whenever you play an enchantment, you get an effect. Favorite of Iroas, 2 white, 2 and a white for a 2/2 that has Constellation. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, Favorite of Iroas gains double strike until end of turn. So just another way to reward you for playing more enchantments. They also brought back a new returning type of enchantment called Sagas from Dominaria, which fit the theme very well, I think.
Yes.
Because it is based on, Greek mythology and whatnot. So
I like the art.
Stories. Yeah.
Yeah, the art is
Some
like
of them, they
ancient
look like,
Roman or Greek pottery stuff.
Yep. Like on a vase or something.
Like the beginning of Hercules.
Right. Yeah, I like the plane a lot. I mean, Greek's not my favorite mythology, but it's got a lot of cool stuff. We've seen almost all the cards now, I think. At time of recording, tomorrow's the pre-release, so...
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's coming out, so the pre-release will be next week. And then the release a week after that.
I like that there are enchantment creatures.
You just like the fact that they're a creature and they're also an enchantment?
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
I think.
The frame for them looks really cool because they're all starry. Because in Theros, the realm of the gods is called Nyx. So enchantment creatures have the power of Nyx, so they have that starry look to them.
Ah.
Yeah. Oh, and then also because Elspeth is escaping the underworld, it's messing the threads of destiny are all messed up. So we get to see the new old red-green god. She was absent from the previous Theros. And she's apparently bound to the underworld for some reason. Don't know why. Maybe some type of Persephone type reason. But she is the Fates analog. Clothis, god of destiny. She is red-green. And green is very destiny based, and not red. Typically, is not necessarily for destiny because red's all about freedom. But she's just very angry about, very passionate about destiny.
Yeah.
So she's just really pissed when that Elspeth is not following her rules, basically. So she created a whole new dude. Planeswalker Calyx, Destiny's Hand, to basically track her and bring her back to the underworld.
Oh, that's what he is. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Makes sense.
He's a Nyx-born, which means, he was created by Clothis.
Talk about the Titans, Mal. The Titans.
Yeah, so now, we got our own Titans now, like, out of Greek myth. They were locked in the underworld. I assume the Tartarus analog. And for some reason, Elspeth getting out of the underworld has really effed everything up, including letting the Titans free. And we've got these really cheap 6/6s, but whenever you play them, you have to sacrifice them unless they escaped. So
there could be some cool stuff with some aristocrat deck. Where you just play it, let it sacrifice itself, get some, because you still get to enter the battlefield effect, right?
Yep, and you can sacrifice it to something else before it sacrifices itself. If you have a free sack outlet or if you have more mana open, you can sacrifice it to that sort of effect.
Yeah, because it'll be on the sacrifice will go on the stack, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. So they have an ET. So there's Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath, 1 green blue for a 6/6, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Which makes sense when you have to sacrifice it unless it escapes. So when it enters the battlefield or attacks, you gain 3 life, draw a card, then you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield, and it it escapes for green, green, blue, blue, and 5 other cards, which is much more fair than 3 mana for 6/6 that does some really good stuff when it comes onto the field or attacks. I really like that they based these off of. There's a core set that had Titans, Inferno Titan, Primeval Titan, Grave Titan. They were all 6/6s that had an effect when they either entered the battlefield or attacked. So it's kind of just also a nice callback to that. As this is what a Titan is and does. Yeah, so it looks really cool. It's nice that there is more enchantment-based goodness for people, since it is like one of the least expanded on types in the game, basically.
What's your favorite card?
I think it might be the spider.
Yeah.
The legendary spider is so cool.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites too.
Errasta
looks
of
really
the
good,
Endless Web.
I
2
like-
green green for a 3/5 with reach, and whenever your opponent casts an instant or a sorcery spell, you get a 1/2 green spider creature token with reach.
How is that not too good? That's my question.
Well, it's in green, you see, which is the best color in Magic now, so nothing is too good for green.
Exactly.
All right, so besides the meaning answer,
Yeah.
who the fuck thought that was okay?
Oh.
Like, legitimately.
I like this first comment. I haven't seen comments about how the shreds arc like Phoenix. Sure, cast 3 spells. I get some spiders.
Yeah.
I just don't understand who thought that was okay. That's a really good card. There's like
Yeah.
even the cost. I was like, well, okay,
It's really good stats too.
really
just
good.
for the mana
3/5.
cost.
It
Yeah.
costs 4 mana, of
For
2 of which can be
reach.
anything.
Like that's acceptable, and then you get the value
I mean, it
on
does
top of it.
like it doesn't have any like getting the creatures is the only thing that makes it really good, right?
Oh, sure,
Like,
sure.
reach
It's
is
just like
one
it's
of
like
the
a decent
worst
creature.
abilities in the game, probably. But yeah, the rest just really makes it great.
The promise is like it pretty much means that anytime you cast a spell to debilitate your opponent, it's never
Yeah.
it's or to buff
mean-
yourself, it's always
Yeah,
immediately.
you
It's a
basically just have
reaction.
to kill it, and they get 1/2 left over. But
Yeah. It's guaranteed but that's like the thing. It's like even at the best position. I don't know the state of the meta or the design for it, but even at the best case scenario, you have a card that instantly removes it.
yeah,
But it's still gonna leave a 1/2 behind.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, green is like the best color in practically a lot of the formats right now.
Mhm.
So we'll see.
Like if
I mean,
White
it's still
Weenie
good
is
enough
pretty
to-
good, then I could see it getting played or something like that. Maybe.
Yeah, well, white's the worst color in the
Yeah.
game. So
I see a lot
Though
of
they
White
get a
Weenie
4-color
boosting some stuff.
yeah, they
here.
did get a 4-color or a 4-mana Wrath. So that's
Yeah.
that's pretty big.
How-
We haven't had that in a very long time.
Here's a bigger question I've got, since this is like outside of the stuff that I normally dabble in, because card games I can never seem to really stick with. How much actual? I know, like you guys stated earlier, that there's like removal is the name of the game, but how much actual removal is there? Is it like every other card's removal, or
No,
do you
I
need to
mean-
like build up to it?
But there's enough removals that at least in black, you'll be
Okay.
able to just be
It-
like
Just
like spend 3 or 4 mana to kill one thing. So you're about
Okay.
honestly, yeah, you'd want to spend 2 or 3 mana probably to kill this one creature, because otherwise you're just trading a card for a card, but they still have a creature left behind. But
The-
again, so white just got Shatter the Sky, which is 2 white. Each player who controls a creature card with power 4 or greater draws a card, then destroy all creatures, which is big because for the long time, it's been 5 mana.
Yeah.
Wraths is what this effect is called, and because 4 have just been it's considered too good for standard. But even with the downside of possibly giving your opponent a card, 4 mana Wraths are very powerful. So it could be enough for white to get back on, or at least be decent again.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we're talking about removal, are we talking about like it just automatically kills something, or is removal anything that like does enough damage to kill something?
Removal, yeah, is anything that kills it. Red usually does direct damage. 5 toughness though is a lot to ask from red. So
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
I just
you're
wasn't
probably
sure.
gonna need black or white to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I wasn't sure if like removal just like meant like only cards that instantly kill something, or if it's just more like any card that could potentially kill something off.
As long as it gets rid of it, pretty much.
All right.
Like an
Well,
exile
you even
it.
have like
It's a very flexible term.
There can be like white enchantments that come in and like exile it until it leaves the battlefield.
Okay.
It's considered removal.
Well, exile though is removal though. I'm saying like if the
Yeah.
card says it does 3 damage and it hits the creature and it's only got 2 health.
yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah,
is
yeah, that's
considered
technically
Oh,
removal.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I was trying. I was
even,
trying to see how
there's-
flexible the term was.
people like even call blue removal, where like it's a tap target creature. It doesn't ever untap. You can call it removal, but in this sort of card, it's not great because it's still got an ability that's going every time you cast a spell.
Yeah.
Technically, that card that you just cast causes attack.
Yep.
So
Yeah, it seems good. I mean,
I think I don't know much about Magic, but from what
Right.
little I've seen, like 5 health is nothing to scoff at for a creature. That's pretty durable.
yeah. And it's only 4 mana, which is just inside. Like usually things that start getting above 4 mana, they have to start being a really, really good to justify playing at least in stand. Well, yeah, in construction.
it's gonna be I mean it'll be fun and limited.
Yeah, like I mean, honestly though, like I would be surprised to see this played anywhere outside of standard and commander sort of thing.
Sure,
like modern
sure.
is. I mean, maybe Pioneer.
It's not like
I don't
a
know enough about
bomb
Pioneer.
necessarily, but
Right.
Really, you don't think it would show up in more like competitive stuff?
I mean, no. There's just a lot of good cards in Magic. Like, it seems good, but I don't know.
it's like I could see it being like the guy said, the potential like sideboard against Arclight
it's probably
Phoenix
a sideboard depending on who you're fighting. Would
Jeebus,
probably
if that card's a sideboard, what the fuck are you putting in the actual deck as a
some
like a
heinous
component?
stuff, planeswalkers.
Yeah, Planeswalkers.
Let me play this card. It just says I win when I pay 1 mana for it.
Speaking of odd waiting conditions, I like Thassa's Oracle.
Ah, is that yours?
Yeah.
Thassa's Oracle.
Also
is
like
very
Dryad
silly
of Elysian
and cool.
Grove too, just because I like what they do. I'm just curious if someone's going to come up with a cool Thassa's Oracle combo deck.
I don't know if you
Anything.
can do it in standard because
Yeah.
Thassa's Oracle is blue for a 1/3, but when it enters the battlefield, you look at the top X cards of your library, where X is your devotion to blue. Put up to one of them on the top of your library and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. If X is greater than or equal to the number of cards in your library, you win the game. So basically, if you have a ton of blue things on the field, like and a little bit of your deck left, you win. But if you can somehow find a way to empty your deck and then play it, you also just win on the spot. So yeah, I don't know how you just empty your deck and then play this card in standard.
No, I just think it's fun.
Yeah.
I always like alternate win condition stuff. It's never like
Right.
I think like the last competitive version, it was Return of the Second Son or
Yeah,
whatever.
the Second Son, which is, it was like, play this card. If it's the second time you've played it, win the game. If not, put it 7 cards down from the top of your deck. So basically, you were on a clock to win. But people
Yeah, it was
ended
a
up
cute deck.
apparently with a bunch of card draw. When it doesn't take 7 turns to win, it's pretty good.
It's like, yeah, I'm putting it in. I'm probably getting it back out like next turn.
Right.
Yeah, I also like Dryad Elysian Grove, who's 2 and a green, enchantment creature nymph, a 2/4. Play additional land on each of your turns. Lands you control have every basic land top in addition to their other tops.
Yeah, it seems really good. Probably maybe my least favorite art in the set.
Yeah,
That dude just
it's a
he's
giant
just-
green
yeah.
giant naked guy. So there you go,
It's not even like
sitting in a
it's
tree.
just the way it's drawn I don't like. Honestly, like I'm sorry, Scott Murphy.
Mal
He's
just
the artist.
ruined your day.
I'm not feeling the
He's
way
in a
it's
temple.
drawn.
He's got like starry vines all over him. You know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the greatest piece of magic art, to be sure.
I've definitely seen sexier dudes.
I mean, you look at yourself in the mirror every day. So.
Every morning I get up and I
Maybe
just
not
go,
that.
man. I'm sexy.
I always loved the black card. Like I think there was another black saga card in Dominaria. It might have been one of the ones based off Nicol Bolas. I'm talking about Elspeth's Nightmare, where it's like the stone carving on like the front. Yep. They tend to do that on like some of the black saga cards. I just like that art style too.
It's it shows her and her nightmare of a Phyrexian, because her home plane, which we don't know the name of, was gobbled, overtaken by Phyrexians, so she's really afraid of them.
Yeah. Also love the Cerberus stuff. There's the 1 3-headed dog. There's the 3-headed hellhound. They cute. They the best boys.
Yeah. It's really cool, and to see all of the references to previous myths and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's real good.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
I'm not really sure how I feel about how limited will play, which is tend to what I typically play limited the most.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really gotten a good feel for it yet. Like,
I like the energy cards too, Mel.
Oh right, they got the full art lands, which are literally the Pokemon energy cards.
And you get Scry lands.
Going to look gorgeous in foil.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they will.
Because they're just like nebula. They're just like the stars and whatnot. Like,
they're constellations.
Yeah,
fits the theme.
All
right. Anything else you wanted to say about Theros, Mel? I guess we'll see tomorrow with the pre-release if it looks any fun or not.
Yep, pretty much.